Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Una. I am the CEO of Ivy League Pediatrics, but most importantly, I love helping entrepreneurs build profitable businesses. So I remember when I first started my business and I was trying to research the role of a CEO. And I looked at a number of different articles, and one of them said, simple, the job of a CEO is to hire and fire. I'm like, it's not possible. The job of the CEO is to do forecasting, vision casting, revenue projections, and all these fancy long things with big words and all of that stuff. And after owning my business for about 2 years, I was like, you know what? I think they were right. The job of the CEO is to hire and fire, because your people will bring you the greatest pain, but they also bring you the biggest gain. They're also going to be your greatest assets. But it's an interesting process to pull this off. Okay, so hiring and firing. So if you hate hiring, if you hate firing, if you hate the interview process, if you hate selecting, all of that stuff, then this is a great video for you to watch, because I am going to be showing you 7 things you can do to up level your hiring steps. So your hiring process. So maybe you're here and maybe you've called people for interviews only for them to no-show for the interview. Or you've tried to hire somebody and day 1, they worked, day 2, after lunch, they left and you never saw them again. I mean, like, if you've had these kind of nightmare type things, I've had them too. I have a lot less of them, and I want to share some things that I learned along the way. Okay, so number 1 is you want to be hiring all the time. Okay, especially like I run a medical practice, I hire nurses, medical assistants. You want to always be hiring. You want to always be looking for great people. If you always want to keep a job thing open, you want those resumes coming in, because you don't want to bring just anybody into your company, right? Because your company is made up, it's not just you. Your people represent your company, right? So you want to keep looking for the best talent there is out there. And if you find somebody really great, you don't have anywhere to put them, trust me, you can create a position, a revenue generating position for them. Okay? You want to always be hiring. You don't want to hire when you need people, because at that point, you're only going to go after warm bodies, anybody that comes in, and that's usually a nightmare. Okay? So you want to hire when you're not under pressure, where you can easily do the number of interviews you want to do, you can check your references right, you can wait and think about it, and it's okay. Okay? So number 1, you want to hire all the time. Number 2, tell everybody you are hiring. Everybody, because you don't know who knows the person that you really need, right? I have had some of the best employees that I found, and it was just because people knew I was hiring. They called me up, they said, look, I just have this person. She's fabulous. I've worked with her before and she's looking for a job. Check her out. And I've had amazing hires that way. But if I didn't keep putting the word out there that I was hiring, then they wouldn't have known to call me, because they wouldn't have known I was looking. So tell everyone you're hiring. Tell family, tell friends, tell your employees that work with you. If you're part of Facebook groups, especially if it's within your field, keep putting out there, hey, just to let you know, we're looking for a rock star, because you don't know who knows the person that you need. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, create a great job description. So when you put your ad there, don't just say, oh, we're looking for somebody, let's say a medical assistant. We're looking for a medical assistant with 3 years of experience, who is a certified medical assistant and who has CPR. Don't do that. Whatever it is that you know you want them to do, put it all in there. When I hire doctors, I literally put, you're expected to be on time, you're expected to complete your notes in 24 hours, you're supposed to complete your bills in 24 hours, you're supposed to do all your mommy calls in such and such a time, supposed to complete all your correspondence. Like, I list everything there. So if you look at that, so if you have some misfits, they'll go like, shoot, those people work too hard. I'm not even applying. And you don't want them to apply because you don't want them, right? So be very clear about what you want. Be very clear about who you want to fill that position and put it in the job description. What it will do is it will help people self-select. They'll just click, can't do it. And you don't want them to do it, okay? The 4th thing, and this took me a moment to get, but I got it now, is do at least 3 interviews. Sometimes this is what happened. In my early years, I did this. You start interviewing the person, you're like, oh, but they're nice. That's not what you're looking for, right? You're not looking for nice. oh, but they're nice, but they're this, oh, I think it could work. And then at the end of the, you know, then you think about it, maybe check 1 or 2 references if you do that, and then hire them. No. Interview, do at least 3 interviews, okay? And usually, well, so 3 interviews, and if possible, in 3 different locations, like 3 different setups. All right, so I'll give you an example. So for me, what I do, if I'm hiring for somebody for a position, the first person who will interview them is my HR manager, and she does, you know, a lot of the screening stuff. She reviews their KRAs, which is their key result areas, which is like, you know, job description, reviews that them, say this is what we're about, all that stuff. Tries to get the nitty gritty. Oh, I see you worked for here for 2 years. What happened? Why did you leave? Okay, here you worked for 6 months. What happened? You know, like try to do all that screening. And then when that's done, then they do, this is over the phone. Okay, this is a phone interview. After that, they do an in-person interview with her, right? And they go through all of that. And then the 3rd interview is me, right? So what that does is, it self-selects. If you have that person who's going to quit on their first day of work, they're probably not going to go through 3 interviews, right? If she gets carried away and she's like, I really like this person, I interview them, I'm like, yeah, there's no way that's happening, because, right, you have 2 different people eyeballing this person, right? So don't do 1 interview. Don't even do 2, but if you will not do 3, at least do 2. And don't be the only person to interview the person. Have multiple people, if possible, multiple setups. So 1 is over the phone, 1 is in person with her, maybe in, you know, one of our offices in Peachtree Corners, and I will do the other one in Lawrenceville. Just mix and match, set them up, you know, that kind of way. Okay, so mix up your interviews and all that stuff. All right, so number 5, I do a, I kind of put 4 and 5 together for you, okay? But we'll go with it. Number 5, I do a work interview, okay? So do a work interview, especially, it depends on the position, right? Some positions you can't do that, but if you can, if you go through the interview process and you're like, I really like this person, tell them we're going to do a work interview. You're going to work for, you know, a day or 2, and we'll pay you, but we haven't offered you a job yet. This is just a work interview, but we don't want you to work for free. So pay them and let them come work. You see them interact with the other staff, right? You see what time they come to work. You see how they interact with, you know, your clients, or how they interact with the other employees and all of that stuff. If there's some craziness, a lot of times it will come up, right? You've had 3 interviews and 2 work interview days for craziness to come up. And a lot of times it'll come to the surface, okay? And if all your staff go like, like we worked with her, then listen to them, okay? But a work interview helps, okay? And then number 6, don't be upset when people do what people do, okay? It's only 2% of the world's population that's made up of leaders. Leaders being people who can self-direct, they can direct themselves and they can direct others. So you are going to come across a lot of people who will have a weird work ethic, who maybe quit with the least resistance that shows up. You're going to have those kind of people. Now, if you implement these strategies that I've talked about, you reduce the number of people who make it through the interview process and into your company. But, you know, people do what people do. So if you schedule an interview and the person no-shows, don't lose it, okay? People do what people do, and you're a CEO, so deal with it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't say that to mean you should be excited when it happens, but don't let it ruin your day or make you mad or whatever, because people are always going to do what people do, right? If you eventually go through this entire process and the person was not able to show you there's some cuckoo there, and you hire them and they quit after 2 days, people do what people do. Just learn the lesson and keep it moving. But I think it would make sense for every one of us to come to terms with, if you are a boss, you're going to spend quite a bit of time, energy, and resources interviewing and going through that process to get people on board in your company. But the truth of the matter is, for the people who would be great, it's worth it. But to get to those great people, you're going to have to go through some not so great people, okay? So when people do what people do, don't get upset. Just keep it rolling, you know, dust it off, be a duck, like let the water roll off and do what you need to do, okay? So let me know in the comments if this helped. But please apply this. If you do, it will change your processes. And that way you probably end up with fewer misfits. Of course, there are other strategies, but I didn't want to overburden you. I just have, 7 here. And then, let me know if it helps. Okay, bye.